Boosie has some things to say about the color purple. Now, the color purple is based on a book that was released in 1982. The color purple, it's decades old. It's almost as old as me. It was written by Alice Walker. And when she released the book and when the subsequent movie came out in 1985, there were criticisms abound about the color purple. The scenes in the color purple are not new. The criticisms from the Ashgardians, the Dusties, the Otises, the Willie Earls are now being it's on repeat from the Dustaviuses, the Ashgardians of now, the Broctaviuses, the Glocktaviuses of right now. This movie came out in 1985, y'all. These concepts are not new. But let's talk about Boosie. He says in all caps, I had to walk out of this color purple movie, and two other older couples walked out also because I had my little girls with me, and it seemed like a rainbow love story. Good acting, but whoever wrote the script is pushing a narrative hard. As a parent, I will not let my little girl watch this film. it, this is the reason for that common stereotype that if you want to hide anything, hide it in a book. Because this movie has been part of the Black experience for 4 decades. Like the gall at there being a lesbian couple. But he's outraged about that. But he is not outraged about the other themes in this movie. The other themes in this movie do not speak particularly well of of some of the experiences of Black women, and that is what got the critique going 4 decades ago. We do need to talk about some of these comments because some of these comments highlight his hypocrisy. Mr. Worldwide said, but the beating, raping, and selling of Black women and children was tolerable. Now, I know that back when Alice Walker wrote this book, it was like shocking that a Black woman would put this stuff out here because, speaking of these types of things and the experiences of Black women was, taboo back then. And this happened. These types of things were happening. It's just not enough women were speaking about their experiences within the dynamics of relationships because racism. Now we got to the point where intersectional racism and the intersectional experiences of Black women are coming to the forefront where, yes, we can experience both sexism and racism simply by being born Black and a woman. It happens. And so these types of things were happening, but it's so normalized that people don't even think to be appalled by that. It's just kind of normalized. Okay, then this person says, so he ain't never seen the original movie because I know he ain't read the book. I mean, I only asked because he was fine with his daughter seeing molestation, pedophilia, and domestic abuse. Like, what is wrong with these people? Okay, this person says, I know this ain't the same man who bragged about hiring women to perform sexual acts on his underage sons and cousins at his son's birthday party. That is because women in these types of people's minds are supposed to be here for the pleasure and gratification of these people. That's what women are supposed to be here for. They're not supposed to be here to form human relationships with people that they deem inappropriate, like other women, or based in a relationship where the woman has full control of her own humanity. This person says, but isn't one of your daughters? Never mind. Yes, one of his daughters is a lesbian. So, like, the fact that he has such a visceral reaction is probably just simply projection. And the fact that he has no reaction to the treatment of women and children in this movie is because he is, that's normal to his eyes. That's normal. The discourse of what the color purple represented has been going on since Alice Walker's book, and the movie came out in the 80s. Okay, so a quote from Alice Walker: I belong to a people, heart and soul, who do not trust mirrors, not those in any case in which ourselves appear. What does that mean? Reflecting us back to us will get some backlash because it's not always pretty. Now, we could talk all day about systemic racism, racism of Karens, police involved shootings, all of that. But soon as we start talking about things that are going on within the household, within the community, and it doesn't highlight a certain demographic that well, oh, you better hush your mouth, hush your mouth. Okay, so the critics who criticized the color purple believed that it hurt relationships between Black men and women. But what these critics seemed most concerned with was the portrayal of Black men in the novel. Alice Walker's detractors claimed that the representation of Black men in the color purple were stereotypical and that there was an overemphasis of Black male brutality within the novel. The novel, sometimes dismissed as having a feminist bias that saw men as primarily abusive, and it was also criticized for viewing men through the Black female gaze. It has been said that Alice Walker's ideas of equality and tolerance were harmful, and that the success she received from The Color Purple was at the expense of Black male writers. Because such hurtful attacks by her own people, Alice Walker eventually took a temporary exile in Mexico. And just for a history lesson, marital rape was not put on the law books until 1993. That's when it became a crime in all 50 states. So just understand that simply marrying somebody meant that they had access. You basically belonged to them. You were their property, so they could not rape you. The Clinton administration took on DV in the 90s. They passed the Violence Against Women Act in 1994. And that was basically because, like marital rape, there's no such thing as harming your own property. There were no strong laws against it. I only bring these up because rape and DV were a part of American life, and it still is. But at least now there are laws against it, and we're talking about it as part of the discourse. And he shouldn't be surprised, and we shouldn't be surprised that he's surprised because we know he ain't reading no books. You guys go ahead and weigh in on this one.